My family and fiance excommunicated me after my sister sabotaged me. I need a little advice on the matter as I don't know what to do anymore. I was 21 when my fiance asked me to marry him. He was the absolute light of my life. We had known each other since preschool. Our families are very close. He would come and have dinner with us on a daily basis. And vice versa, he doesn't have any siblings, but I have two sisters, which is very important as he was also very close with them. We grew up together when he started. We started dating. I don't think our present stopped celebrating for weeks. He helped me deal with a lot of my anxiety, and even when I gained a little weight and my mother berated me saying he was going to leave me, he told her off and said he loved me for who I was, not for what I looked like, even though he claimed I was the most beautiful girl in the world to him. We were only engaged for 6 months before the incident. My middle oldest sister, let's call her Nikki, was a very cold person. She never showed any affection. She only ever opened up to my fiance as she said she saw him as a brother, and he also helped her through a lot of hard dark times. So this betraying the addictions and breaking the law she and I never saw eye do I loved I her dearly because she was my sister, but I did not like her as a person. Out of the blue she tells me she wanted to take me clubbing as we had never been together before. She felt ahead that she was so distant to me. We agreed, and that night we went out. Clubbing wasn't really my style, but once I had a few drinks, I loosened up a little and began having fun. The night was going smoothly until Nikki spotted a guy across the room whom she claimed she wanted to climb him like a tree. She walked over to him, and within a few minutes she was back to, and she had a sore expression on her face. I asked her what was up, but she never said nothing. I kept pacing because I didn't want her night to be ruined. She then told me the guy did not want her number, but he wanted mine instead. I told her he was a loser, and there were plenty of bells around who would kill to be with a girl like her. She did not budge, though she told me she needed to use the restroom, and then we would leave. I waited another hour during this time, sipping on a lot of different cocktails, and then started feeling really dizzy and later I figured I would just have it home as I was certain Nikki had left on the way out. Though I bumped into a friend of Nikki's whom she had briefly dated. He asked me if I needed a hand to my car, and Usman is getting a cab. He said he was getting ready to leave and you could share one. Told I told him okay, and we walked out of a club together and into the fast cab. So I tried to find my phone in my purse, but I felt myself getting dizzier and dizzier. I don't remember what happened next as I blacked it out, and the next morning wake up on a hard sofa of hard pounding. When I came to I realized it was a naked friend housing. My phone was sitting on the glass table in front of me, but it was dead on better when he noticed I was here for some tablets and water and explained that I had passed out in the cave and he did not remember my parents' address, so he just picked me up. He took me back there where he laid me on the sofa. I told him I needed to go home as my fiance would be old. He called a cab and lot when I arrived at my parents' house. My mother, father, Nicky, my fiance, and his parents were all standing in the living room. I thought they were worried about me, but the instant I opened my mouth, my fiance asked how could I do this to him. I tried to explain that my phone was dead, but he then went on screaming about how I cheated on him. I was baffled. Why would he think that I tried to explain the night's events, but I keep getting cut off. Nikki then chimed in and said I was lying and asked how I could be so heartless to a man who has been there for me through thick and thin. She went to say I kept flirting with random guys all night, and then when she went to the bathroom, she saw me live with her friend. I told her what had happened, and she showed me photos on her phone. As we are leaving, his hand was on my back, using me outside. Yes, the photo did look horrible, and I was so drunk. I did not even realize his hand was on my back. I told my fiancé was so angry. He kept shouting, and his mom and mine were both crying. And then asked Nikki to call her friend, and he would confirm nothing happened. But when she called him, he told a completely different story. He said I begged him to take me back to his, and when he did, we slept together multiple times. I saw red and started crying and yelling at Nikki because I knew she had organized this whole thing to make me look. But I begged my fiancé to believe my. But I just shook his head and left when everyone had cleared. But all my mother slapped me across the face and told me to get out. I left and went to a friend's house where I stayed for a few nights. During these nights, I called my fiancé, crying and pleading with him to believe me whole that nothing happened, but it all Well fell on deep yards as he never returned any of my calls or text. My mom texted me and told me she was kicking me out and but she couldn't believe I would do such a thing and a lot of hurtful other slurs. I don't think I could repeat here. She did not even give me time to get my things as she threw everything out. I was now homeless. None of my family would take me in their clothes. They told my fiancé mother's side I was homeless and single in less than a day and half my entire world had been taken away because of Nikki's lies. Now for weeks, I tried everything to get my fiance and my family back to the limits for me. Towards when Christmas time had come and I went over to my mother's house to try and reconcile, sleeping from couch to couch. During this time, when I got my parents' house, I knocked on the door, but no one answered. My friend then called me and told me she just saw on Facebook that my family had they were in other studios celebrating Christmas and they had posted pictures online. Everyone there, my sister's parents, grandparents, and even my fiance and his family. When I myself saw the photos, I couldn't stop crying and they were looked so happy. We cared for days and day before deciding to walk them all. I been it turned my engagement ring. My friend needs someone a couple hours away who was looking for some help in his restaurant and he been living in minutes above where he worked and so I could get rent at cheap price and work at the same time I wanted to start over with my life as it hurt me that no one took my side and they all left me to fend for myself. I was able to move pretty quickly and was doing all the apartment was tiny and I had to work 10 plus hours almost every day, but I was able to save a lot of money. I'm not living in the apartment anymore. I was able to rent a much nicer condo, but am still working at the restaurant as assistant manager. Now it has been roughly 2 years since I left the head. Not spoken to any of my family. Had know how far we find me, and he said my friend told him my entire family has been trying to get in touch with me and want to see me. I told him I needed time to see if I even wanted to have him in my life. He later I have been a mess since I don't know what to do and I'll never ever forgive Nikki. She could done for all I cared, but it's hard because my other family and fiancé didn't know she was lying, but I also felt like they wanted me to quickly without letting me explain my side. I don't know if I should forgive meeting, but you don't need to as they also showed up at my door. Well, my father did when I answered the door and saw him standing there. Ended up doing what she insisted in cleaning when he was done was sit down. I was just busted in tears. My emotions were all over the place and my father was worn the same slogan for a really long time. So when I smell it, it just throw back all these memories. She tried to hug me, but I pushed him away and away. What he was doing here, he went to explain he and my clung to him, asking to forgive Nikki as she is not well and they had already lost one daughter. They could not lose to heck both my mother and Nikki has been on my ex's case about finding me my ex kid, but when my dad said he broke my mother and Nikki and told him where I lived, I asked that he never show up again. Unless I give him permission and he agreed he does what would happen now. As this is if she reaches out and would talk, I will update the post again for my ex. I have not had the time to meet with him and talk another though we did mention he wanted to come with my dad, but he told him I would be too overwhelmed if both were there and seeing them separate will help me clear issue. He also mentioned my ex was arrested for assaulting Ticky's friend who lied about the entire situation he was being charged, but the charge was dropped a few days later. I will update the post again when I have time to speak to my ex. Thanks for guys for listening to the story. It's something that has been bottled up in me for a long time.